to Sermon a Day. I am Pastor Tom Estes, and this is your 5-minute sermon for March 5th, 2013. The title of today's message is, Are You Acceptable in the Eyes of God? Psalm 19, verse 14 says this, Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Here we have the psalmist. The Bible says, as far as we know, this is a psalm of David, asking God, please, Lord, allow me to be acceptable in your sight. What a thought that is. As I go through my own life, there are many times where I know the things I've said, the things I've thought about, the things I've dwelled on, they've not been acceptable to God. They're not pleasing to Him. And as a Christian, though, that should be the driving force behind your life. It shouldn't be whether or not you make enough money to pay the bills, and that's important. You need to work, you need to pay your bills. But that shouldn't be the driving force. It shouldn't be that you make everybody in your family happy, although it's a good thing to make your wife happy or your husband happy. It's a good thing to make your children happy. It's a good thing to make your parents happy. Those are all good things. But that should not be the driving force in your life. David really nails it here. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. What kind of people would we be if we measured our every word against whether or not it would be acceptable for God? I bet you probably wouldn't talk bad about your coworker. I bet you probably wouldn't rail on your wife. I bet you probably wouldn't run down your husband. I bet you probably wouldn't scream at your kids. I bet you probably wouldn't talk bad about your Sunday school teacher. I bet you probably wouldn't criticize the pastor's message if you were worried about your words being acceptable before God. And then it says the meditation of my heart, the meditation of your heart. What do you dwell on? What do you dream about? You know what most of us do in those times? We lust. It may be after the opposite sex, but many times it's over things. We lust after things that we want. We lust after position. We lust after titles. We lust after having the next car, the next house, the next clothes. Those are the meditations of our heart. What if we would spend some more time in meditation about our God? What if we would spend some more time truly thinking about what He did for us at Calvary, shedding His blood, dying on the cross for us? What would it be like if we spent more of our life thinking about that? You know, the Lord's gotten a hold of me recently with this idea about Moses talking face to face with God as his friend. What would it be like if we had God with us at all times? Now, I know God's everywhere we go, but what if we had God with us at all times? And everything we said, we thought about, God's right here. I don't want to say that in front of God. Everything that we thought about, we'd say, God's right here. I don't want to think about that. I want to please Him. And see, the reason that we should try and do that, the end of the verse says it. O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. The only strength that you or I have comes from God. He's the one that makes us get up in the morning. He's the one that makes us go to bed at night. He's the one that makes the sun rise. He's the one that makes the moon come out. He's everything. And then to think of the fact that He has redeemed us with His shed blood at Calvary. What a wonderful thought that Jesus Christ, and I believe with all my heart that when He died, that He knew exactly who He was dying for. That He knew where His blood was being shed, who it was being shed for. To think that Christ would redeem me. To think that Christ would redeem you. And when you think about it in those terms, how can we live any other way but then to make sure that every single thing in our life is acceptable to God? We'd watch TV in a different way, wouldn't we? If we were worried about it being acceptable to God. We'd listen to different kinds of music if we were worried about it being acceptable to God. We'd talk to different kinds of people if we were worried about it being acceptable to God. We'd go to different kinds of places if we were worried about it being acceptable to God. And look, folks, if you're a Christian, why wouldn't you live that way? Why wouldn't we live in our life in a way where we are doing everything we can in every area and avenue of our life to please Him? ask yourself the question, are you acceptable to God? All right, so that was your 5-minute sermon for March 5th, 2013. I just want to thank you for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, even though it's only a few of you. I appreciate it. I really do. And if you're ever in Winter Haven, please come by and see our church. I promise I'll preach longer than 5 minutes if you come to our church. God bless you and have a great day.